Paris, chérie, mon beau Paris, c'est toujours toi que j'aime.
Hello there people, welcome back to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials with me, Sab Will. It's been a while, I know, but I'm back and I'm chilling. As you can see, I'm chilling from the look of this, something that's been happening in the last little while, totally disrupting everything within sight, this white stuff. Where are we? Well, I think you know from the title of the site where you are, but let's have a look exactly. Any ideas? Any guesses? Alright, well let's do something interesting here. That's our world. That's Australia. Do you think we're going to Australia? No, let's have a look. Here we go. Zooming into Europe, to France, to Paris, and kaboom! There we are. Any ideas now? Well, let me just zoom back a little bit, see if you recognise any of this. That's a park, and it looks like it's got a railway line running through it. We're in the south of Paris, and this is where we are on this bit here. Now let's just zoom down a little bit more. And it's got this double tram line thing here. It's a new tram line, and that's near where I live actually. And we're just going to zoom in on one of these bubble things here, see what happens. Okay, and here we are. There's the park. There's a sign there saying Montsouris, Institut Mutualiste Montsouris. That's where Johnny Hallyday, the famous French version of Elvis, was recently chopped up and had to go to Los Angeles or somewhere to get put back together again, much to the great scandal. And here we are at the RER station. RER station there. And there's the tram line. Now if you look at this photograph here, and if we go to the first one I showed you, you should see some similarities. There's a tram, not many maybe. Now this was, I saw that it had snowed and I rushed out, of course, as a good photographer should. Snow doesn't happen every day in Paris, doesn't even happen every year, although it seems to be getting more and more common with good old global warming, which somehow means that we get more snow than before at the moment. So there I was. Here's some others that I took. Let me just line these up. Alright. Okay, so there's the first one. Here's another one, and of course if you're taking a picture of a tram in the snow, the tram should be quite significant in the picture, otherwise it's not really, unless there's something else amazing happening, and there isn't, there's just a whole load of whiteness and people looking cold. But a tram is a pretty impressive thing, and it's one of those shots where you want to get a really dynamic perspective. So if you compare this one to this one, for example, I think you'll agree that the latter is more dynamic. You know, you've got this lovely zooming off effect. If you position yourself on what is effectively one of the corners of this, you've got this lovely retreating into the background effect, like a long worm coming out of the whiteness, and the big, well, actually rather shapely front, much more shapely than the old trains, and the old trams indeed. And here's the tram line. Now what we're lacking here possibly is a bit of action. Now in the snow, what happens in the snow? Well, people get cold, don't they? People get cold and they wrap up in lots of warm clothing and huddle together for warmth and all that sort of thing. So what I'm looking for is people looking like that, slipping over, falling over, holding umbrellas and so on. So these last two in this little mini-series are probably a little bit more interesting. So if you look at this one, for example, you've got this woman hurrying, and possibly, well, you can imagine she's hurrying to get this tram. There's people here, you can hardly see them, but they're all scarfed up and huddling together and shrugged shoulders and all that sort of thing. And you can see this woman's running because, look, she's got her foot like that, and it's probably a bit more than if she were just strolling casually. So you can imagine she's got this slightly forward lean to her as well. Going back to this one, it's taken the tram from the other angle, the other corner. if you see what I mean. You've got this guy coming in front of it, but it's a bit distracting actually. There isn't one character who seems to really stand out and give us that feeling of what's going on. And he's also getting in the way of the front of the tram, and the front of the tram's rather impressive. There's also this car, sort of extraneous car in the background, and a bit of a mishmash of people. No one you could really pick out to give the feeling of the chilliness that I'm looking for. So I went with this one in the end. Look at this one, look at the building here, you can see that there. You can also see it in Google Maps. It's that building there. Okay, except minus the tram. Here we can zoom in slightly and get almost more of a true correspondence between that one. Oh no, actually it was better before, wasn't it? Okay, so this turned into this. Now, I'm really quite pleased with it actually. Wasn't necessarily expecting anything amazing, but I do like it. Like it for the way it's turned out. I can't quite remember what I did. I'm going to compare it now to the original and see what I've done in fact. Alright, so have I cropped it at all? Possibly. Have I cropped a bit off that side? Yes, I have. So I've got the edge of that heel just a bit more closer to the edge. Left this bit of rail though, that really adds to the perspective. Look at all those lines leading in. It's not just the tram, which does have these lines here. You've got the overhead lines there. You've got this edge of the is actually the edge of the street. You've got this track here, which is actually the track of the trains going the other direction. That going there. Those zooming in beautifully. Those going there, the edge of the platform, etc. Even the top of this building, as well as the lines of the tram. Now if you see where the vanishing point is, where all these lines end up, it's around about here, which is off to one side, which is nice, makes the composition nicer, and it's also more or less the woman's almost crossing into that vanishing point, which is nice as well. You could have argued that the tram should have been a bit closer to one edge, but I don't think so, because I like these people. These are the people that show what's going on. You can see them huddling, and I mean, keep using that word. I'm getting a bit bored with it. I'll try and find another one. Scuttling off the tram. You can even see those snowflakes. Can you see them there? The white snowflakes there on this guy here. If you look at the original, it was a bit dull, not very exciting. It wasn't that dull in reality, but it wasn't much brighter either. And what a shame to lose all those nice colours. I mean, if you compare the original, okay, if you blew this up to full size, this is a tiny little version of it. This woman here, for example, would be much clearer. But even at this size, I've managed to bring her out. You see, done something fun with the colours there. So you've got, okay, exaggerated a bit, but that's what I like. Make it a bit more like reality. There are these bright colours in this otherwise slightly drab and grey landscape, which is an interesting point actually, because when you're photographing snow, you think it should be white, but that's not true really, because if all the snow was white, it would just be this big whiteout. You need a massive load of tones of grey with some highlights of white to give it texture and to put it into context. You know, if all of this was just one pure white thing, you'd lose a lot of the idea of the slush, the ups and downs, the little ridges, the footprints which have sunk into the snow. So and those footprints aren't shown by the entire thing being white, they're shown by it moving towards grey. So you can bump up the whites to an extent in a picture of snow, but watch out that you don't blow them out altogether and it's just white, because then you've lost a lot of the interest. White's only white in comparison to things which aren't white, otherwise you just have a white rectangle. Same goes for this. If you look at the front here, the only true white on the front of this bus, which is actually white, is probably this little ridge along here. The rest are little bits of grey. Okay, that's it. Running out of time. That's my new video. I'm back, people. Back and chilling in the Paris snow. Thanks for watching. Visit the site at parissetmefree.blogspot.com and let's have your comments. And thanks very much. See you again soon. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.